What's up, guys? It's your boy DB, and I've been asked an awful lot about Galactic Challenges. In fact, I had a video all set for just really talking about my views on Galactic Challenges and some of the fixes they should have done. And then they kind of like implemented some of the stuff sort of with the recent changes we had in the most recent Galactic Challenge, but it's still a incredibly long way from where it needs to be. And it's quite concerning because the fact is CG cancelled a new raid for this mode that has been just a colossal failure so far. I mean, a lot of top end players have quit because they were hanging around waiting for something new to do, and then this arrived, and what essentially happened was we had all the hype about how we're going to be able to use all of our roster and all that kind of stuff, and then really what happened by launch is we got a gated reward version of assault battles that nobody really cared about or was remotely excited about. A lot of people were kind of hoping, and really, I mean, let's be honest, it was the community, it was guys like me even. I mean, I didn't say it publicly, but I had thought it, that we were kind of getting a mode sort of like Blitz was for, for Marvel Strike Force, a mode where you can use your entire roster to sort of like build up and increase your rewards, and you play it every day and stuff like that, or even something like Tower in Dragon Champions, which was kind of like what was it Galactic War used to be before they just like nerfed it to oblivion and made it pointless playing. But no, it was just a gated assault battles again, and it's essentially exactly the same thing we already had that nobody really cared too much about, because you would just play it once for the rewards and that's it. Yes, you can replay this, but there was no replayability, and it was just a little bit frustrating. I am happy that CG has removed the gated rewards finally. That's a really big positive. That was one of the things I was heavily stressing in the initial video that never got finished, because it was just a bit ridiculous, quite frankly. It would recommend a level where you weren't going to get any of the good rewards because the other feats were terrible and you got nothing good anyway. So I wasn't really seeing the positives behind that at all. Yeah, it should give you a little incentive to build up those characters in order to get that, but then the rewards were so poor there was no incentive to do so. And yeah, it was. I had heard the theory as well, where some people were saying, "Oh, it's because they're trying to gate it to stop APK cheaters," but that really doesn't work, because the people that are cheating with APKs are first in everything, have more rewards, and are more likely to have everything like, you know, at Relic 5 in order to get those gated rewards anyway. So that really wasn't actually going to help at all. In fact, the only way they're really ever going to stop this is to threaten legal action to the companies providing the hacks, just like the producers of Fortnite did, and a lot of the other big titles. Then they're not going to break it by just gating it and blocking everybody else. So I mean, those have been around since I started in 2016. I remember the websites that were offering them, so it was not a new thing when it came around. But yeah, back to the core issues with Galactic Challenges. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go off, in a completely different direction, talking about cheating, which is a whole other subject. But essentially, it was hyped as something we can do every day, new content, and the streamers and content creators were getting excited. Guys like me, guys like Cubs Fan Hunt, guys like Arnold, we're all excited about the fact we would have something to showcase a little more regularly, because let's face it, a lot of the other content creators have gone. There was nothing to do, they've left. So the core guys remaining, guys like Ian as well, that were waiting for something to do, were excited by this, and much like Blitz is a mode that I regularly stream for Marvel Strike Force. But it isn't something you can do every day at all. It's pointless. It's basically done in 30 minutes. None of it really offers a challenge unless it's ridiculously hard, like one of the top tier bits where you just don't have the one team that can beat it. And it's just not particularly enjoyable, is it? In all honesty, at least I've not really enjoyed it, and I've not really found anybody else that's enjoyed it. And the biggest problem is there's zero replay value whatsoever. You get rewards the very first time you do it, you get nothing the other times you play it, and there's no sort of like, it's not even a sandbox, because you've got those modifiers, which are sometimes borderline ridiculous. Some of them just, I appreciate the challenge. It lets me think on my feet a little bit, and I can theory craft something that will get around the annoying mechanics that they're bringing into it. But some of them are just difficult to the point they're not even fun. The Padme Separatist one in particular was just one that I was like, well, yeah, I can beat this, but the mechanic they brought in where you did damage and it was done back to you type thing just kind of erased all the fun from it for me. It was like, right, I can only use this like team, and I can only beat it in this like one way. It just that wasn't something that really struck me as, oh, I really want to replay this again and again. So yeah, like I think the promises that were delivered and then the expectations that raised as a result of those have really what have made Galactic Challenges kind of a mega flop. In fact, I prefer the assault battles. I get better rewards for them, and I can punch up in them rather than having to deal with modifiers that take the fun out of things. So yeah, it's really been one of those modes for me that has been a massive disappointment, especially when I consider the fact that a raid was cancelled. They were on about they were developing a raid before, and that they put that on hold for this. So that seems like an incredibly a huge miss in my opinion. Raids are something that I've always found brought a majority of the guilds together, because then you all got to kind of like figure out, right, if I could take this part down and I take this part, your roster can handle this, and we could try and figure out how we can do 100% of this together somehow. And you know, it brings people together in a sense that you find a team and it's like, right, well, we're gonna have 25 build that team to handle that part, and the others can build this team to handle that part, and then new characters arrive and more theory crafting arrives, and I miss that massively. One of my favorite parts of being a content creator in Galaxy Heroes is the fact that I used to be able to theory craft the raids. Obviously Rancor was kind of dead on arrival more or less once Tebow was around, but and then Luke arrived. But you know, Heroic AAT and Heroic Sith raid always provided something to do, and now that's gone as well. They're very easy to auto. So I think a new raid would have been such a better choice than this mode. Having said that, there are a few things I could suggest in order to try and revive this mode a little bit, try and repair it a little, and I don't know if they're really going to do them or if they're really going to listen. I doubt they'll listen at all, because I mean, they removed the Game Changer program, which was what was providing this feedback in the first place. So they've probably got their own ideas how to fix it, and I don't have a great deal of hope that they'll actually be something we'll all enjoy. But you know, I'm not going to sit here and complain unless I'm going to offer some suggestions to kind of actually fix the problem I'm complaining about. And really, I think the biggest one's got to be rewards, right? It really has to be. They've got to scrap these useless rewards where they give us some green or grey rubbish for in the top tiers. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. If you're capable of beating those modified Relic freaking Oblivion teams that are up there that hit so much harder than Relic 7s, then you certainly don't need some grey gear at that point. That kind of thing has to be in the bin immediately, and I don't even know what they were thinking offering those in the first place. That was just almost insulting to those top tier players. Yes, you need at least Relic 5s and probably have to have Relic 7s in order to beat this, but we'll give you an MK1 piece of gear in exchange and a whole 1,000 credits. It was like, okay, excellent. I just won't even bother with that feat then, because it's not like you lost anything not doing it. And another big change I think they should do is it's got to be they've either got to like rotate things in regards to rewards, or at least the window in order that rewards would be available. I don't like the fact that right now it's like, what, 2 to 7 days that one of these events will run, and you're only getting rewards on the very first play. So, well, you know, what's the point of running it 7 days or even 2 days at that point? At least bring the rewards back after a day. Let us at least earn rewards once a day or something, so there is an actual replay value to the mode that was promised in the first place. Having it available just the first time and then nothing available the following times just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand, because as I said earlier, if we can't have it as a sandbox at least for those remaining hours, then you may as well just run it the single day and then it's gone. Because I mean, a simple solution to the sandbox issue: allow us, once we've beaten it, to turn the modifiers off. Then it can be used as a sandbox in order to practice other teams against the really powerful squads you're suggesting. It'd be helpful for guild leaders, for like, you know, for territory war example, be like, right guys, go practice this team against that. Go practice this against that, and it would give you a way of actually strengthening your guild at least, because at the moment there is just no point in it running so long. There really is no point. The modifiers, as I said, were borderline ridiculous, so it's nothing like a normal battle. Therefore, if you're not earning the rewards, there is absolutely no point it running so long. There really isn't. It's not replayable. In fact, it's usually very, very easy to figure out what team you need to use. It's just you need usually the relics in order to do so. So it's not even really worth producing a video on for me to play it twice to make a video to show you how it was done, because you'll figure it out as long as you've got the power, and you're not going to beat it unless you do. So yeah, that seems like something that really does need to be sorted. They either need to change the event more regularly, or allow the rewards to be winnable more frequently, in my opinion. And another thing is the feats. Really, these need variation, in my opinion. It's the same feat every single tier, and there's nothing new or appealing about it, in my opinion. I quite like the feats that we have in Grand Arena. They really mix up, and sometimes it forces me to use the team I really didn't want to have to use, but I'll do it in order for the rewards that I'm going to get. That's not the case in this one. Usually the additional feats are pointless outside of the main one where you've got to use a specific faction, So I figured this is an area they really could allow us to use our roster. Why not actually have the different feats being different in order where you have to use a different leader this time for that faction, where it's like, use 5 Empire. Well, how about the other feat be use 5 Empire, but it has to be Thrawn lead or something like that. You mix it up a little bit, so we don't just use the same team throughout the entire thing. And it doesn't even have to be the same lead in each different tier. It could be like, tier 7 use Thrawn lead because he's not the best lead in the world. It'd be a little bit more difficult. But then in tier 6, that same feat is use Palp lead. Something along those lines. Mix it up, allow us to experiment with the roster and people get practice in with other characters. And if you didn't even want to do that, you could bring in other factions entirely. Maybe tier 7s use Empire, but tier 6s use First Order. Something like that. So it's at least a bit different, and it's not just the same thing every tier, which just doesn't particularly excite me at all. The problem we have with this game is we have these huge rosters, and it is the same tunes that are used all the time. Grand Arena is pretty much the same, like 60 to 80 characters used by everybody on offense and defense, so it's the same battles every single match. And Territory War is pretty much the same thing every single time. So people have wanted to use and have incentive to develop these other characters up. We've still not had that. They said they were going to give us that once before with territory battles, and again, it's pretty much like so difficult that you have to use the same like 3 or 4 squads. And the other place that we can use our characters was platoons, and that's not using them. That's just farming a 7-star character to dump them in a platoon in a click. That's not what people are asking for. They want the option to actually use these teams. Give us somewhere we can actually have a worthwhile having our Tuskens or Jawa or something like that, Blitz was exactly what that is for Marvel Strike Force. You can use every single team to build up your multiplier, but we don't have something like that in Galactic Heroes. I think that's really something that's missing. I would love to see something like that come in, and I was hoping Galactic Challenges were going to be that. I really hope they were going to be that mode. Even the Galactic Legends, let's face it, we were forced to develop all these characters. I really feel for those of you that to farm up Rose, but you built up all these characters, and we were like, right, so I guess they were going to be used throughout the event. Then the events launch, and you essentially use 5 of the characters for the entire event, and don't even use the other ones. We don't use Veteran Han for Kylo. Nobody's really using Rose in the Rey event, so that's always been the annoying thing about this game, in my opinion. You're always having to farm something you don't even have to use, and you're never going to use because it has no purpose. And I really hope that Galactic Challenge is the mode that figures this out and actually gives us reason to use the whole roster that we've been forced to farm all this time. But we'll see. Let me know what you think they could do in order to actually improve this mode. Let me know what your thoughts are on the changes they implemented. I seem to, from what I could work out, the rewards actually got reduced. once they removed the gate. I'm not 100% because I didn't really take screenshots of the rewards that were there before, but I don't know, that it seemed like we got a little bit less. I don't know about you, but there's so many things they could do to improve this. Give away a bunch of shards with these things, because if you're going to give us crap gear, at least give us a bunch of shards that we can convert in Shard Store for something we actually need, you know? There's so many ways they can go about improving this mode, but they seem to be too cautious about giving away too much rare gear, because obviously that's the way they monetize the game. But really, there's so many what's the word I'm looking for? There's so many choke points in the game regarding gear right now, the Kairos, the stun guns, and so on, that they can probably afford to lighten up on at least one of them, in my opinion. And no doubt, when we'll eventually get these relic abilities as well coming in, then we'll get an additional choke point anyway. So yeah, I'm hoping this mode isn't just gonna be pure doom and gloom and disappointment. I really do want them to do something about this that makes it fun for us. And as I said, let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully they'll actually at least check the video out, and maybe they'll see those thoughts. You know, I will love those great ideas that get put in the comments to boost them to the top so they're more visible. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching. We out of here.